So let's get into the story of why I started Hey Girl Run, how I started Hey Girl Run, and just a little history on everything. I feel like I don't talk about it enough, and there are so many things that just make so much sense now looking back on it that let's get into it. And for anyone who doesn't know, Hey Girl Run is an activewear brand that started as this community, but the first thing that I ever made, that I ever put out for the brand, was a 30-day run guide that basically took away like the training factor of running, and it was just a 30-day run guide, 30 minutes for 30 days, and it's just to like get out there more and to run. And so I think a couple things really led me to kind of like starting this brand. One is the fact that I love running so much, just for like my own mental sanity, and like I prefer running over everything else. And I would always, as a kid, use running as like the complementary thing I would do with a sport. So like in high school, I played soccer, I played tennis, I dabbled in basketball for a little. I wasn't that great, but always for training, I would run as like a way to keep me in shape, keep me fast, keep me fit, all of that. But I just loved running so much. And I was never in track. I never ran competitively unless it was like in middle school or something, but I feel like that doesn't really count. I just always loved running outside of the like training sport of it. And then it wasn't until I think after college, even it wasn't until after college that I ran my first half marathon, and I ran my first full marathon, and then I ran a couple of half marathons after that. And it wasn't until I think this was only my second half marathon after I'd already run a marathon. And I had some trouble with that, where for training, I basically like strained something in my calf. So I had to take like a month or two off training, which was really hard because you're in this like headspace of like, I need to train for this race. And if I can't train, I might not be able to run this race. And so it's really hard, like healing an injury while you're training, while you're like preparing to run a marathon anyway. So I ran the Brooklyn half marathon like 6 years ago now. And after that race, it was when I was working in a small startup in New York City. And a couple of the people who I work with, they knew I was training for this half marathon. They knew that I was like constantly running all the time. After the half marathon happened, they were like, what are you training for now? Why are you still running? Like a couple months go by asking those questions. And I'm like, nothing. I love running as like my workout, as the thing that I do to like keep me in shape, but also keep me sane. Like I love the endorphins. I love everything about it. And so because of that, and then the fact that when I ran the Brooklyn half marathon, I did it by myself. It was raining and it was like unusually cold for that time of year and that morning specifically. So it was just like, it wasn't fun. I had like a miserable time running this half marathon. I was like, why is this what running's about? Why is this the training? Like, why is training the running, like what people associate with it, that like, this is what you do, right? And so I wanted to create something that was outside of a race and outside of a training cycle, because then I had also experienced running a marathon. And I didn't run for 4 months after that marathon, even though I love running, because it was so draining. I didn't have anything I was working towards. Everything for running was attached to the marathon, that like once I ran the marathon, I didn't know how to associate running anymore. And I don't think that's something really talked about. And so I wanted to create this space that like wasn't about training, which yes, we do have training guides on our website because we want to support people who are training, but like we want to support and make it as fun as possible, right? Okay, but then another thing, that when I started Hey Girl Run, I was living in New York City, and for me, as like someone who is active, fit, runs all the time, I was intimidated by all of the running groups in New York. Everyone was training for something. Everyone was running 6-minute miles, like super fast. There was no like, let's just go have fun and jog. I think that came a little bit after I started Hey Girl Run, the first thing that I started doing was partnering up with brands and hosting their run clubs. And so one of the brands that I actually think had a really good message was Outdoor Voices. And so I worked with them the first summer that I started Hey Girl Run. And so I did like a summer series with them, and we would do like one run a month or a week. I forget what it was exactly. And because they did Joggers Club, it made it really approachable and it made it fun. But it was after working with like Lululemon, Outdoor Voices, Girlfriend Collective, Alala, a couple other brands, I realized that like kind of in the back of my head, I was like, this is great, but what I really want to create is like a space for females. So create a female run group, because that's not intimidating. Make it not about training, because that's not intimidating. And then also be able to offer run specific apparel eventually, right? So I started Hey Girl Run like 4 years ago at this point. But I didn't start making apparel until like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years, I don't know. So looking back on all of that, basically the brands that I did work with, and like once you work with a brand, they like outfit you in something to wear if you're hosting a run or doing something like that. So I got to try a lot of different brands, a lot of different like pieces, a lot of different leggings, a lot of different sports bras, all of that. And it always seemed like there was something missing that like a runner would want that these brands weren't tailoring to, because of the way that a lot of companies, not that everything is athleisure, but a lot of companies aren't necessarily making things for a specific sport. They're making it just as like an all-around thing, which is no discredit to any brand. It's just something that I notice. And so, yes, there are companies that say like, this is good for running, or this is good for whatever, but it's not like this is for a runner, right? Like it's not just for running. Like they want to be more inclusive of everyone in every sport and all of that, which I think is totally fine. But when it comes to running, there are very specific things that as a runner, like you're looking for, or that you want, that you might not want if you're playing tennis, or like, I don't know, like going for a bike ride. Like it's going to be totally different. And so then in my head, it was like, okay, wait, I'm already creating this running brand. Like I want to make our own Hey Girl Run activewear, because no one is making something so specific for runners, for the performance, for the look of it. Like some of the run brand stuff is really ugly. Like, come on, let's just say it. So making it actually like cute but functional, and like having those specific things that as a runner I was looking for. Like I was sick and tired of having my leggings being sheer. I couldn't stretch in some of the leggings that I would like have to wear for a run that I was hosting, because they were actually sheer. Or like the crotch sweat was so bad it looked like I peed my pants at the end of a run, and I'm like, how is this okay? Like that's crazy. So it was like all these little things, and it's like some of them just wouldn't stay up. Like I can't run in these don't stay up. What? How is that possible? Like you're a big brand. So it was all of these things. I was like, there's got to be something better. So let's make it. So all of those things together, I think just really like lit a fire under me, that I was like, okay, we're doing this. Like everything evolved. I never like started it as like, oh, I want to be this crazy apparel brand. It all naturally and organically just like kept evolving, I guess, into what it is. Maybe like subconsciously I was like manifesting it the whole time. I don't know, which like, great job. But then it really just all had to like come to me at the right time. And so the name Hey Girl Run is actually inspired by, if you've ever seen those, like when I was training for my half marathon and my marathon, I would always see these like motivational memes, and it was Ryan Gosling, and it would be like, hey girl, like looking good for your run today, go out there and like whatever, just these funny memes. And it was like, hey girl, like I'll be waiting for you at the end of the finish line, like from your marathon, like you got this. I don't know, whatever it was. And so I took that as like Hey Girl Run as the name. And I was like, this is amazing. So that's why you'll also see on the website, all of our free run guides and all of our run guides have Ryan Gosling pictures. Like I just think it's so funny, and it's like the same formatting as the meme kind of for all of the run guides, which I think is just like an ode to the beginning of the brand and how we got started. But yeah, like we started with our 30-day run guide, which was amazing, and then we partnered with some brands doing events in real life, like in New York City, so hosting runs. And I say like hosting runs and I call it an event. Like it wasn't a training run, it wasn't a race, it wasn't a 5K. Like we were just getting out there and like going for a jog. And so it's like an in real life like run meetup kind of thing. Then COVID hit and basically all of that got wiped away. I left New York, and so now for the past couple of years I've been growing things here in Denver, Colorado, which has been amazing so far. And it's been so cool to see like how the community has been growing and how we've been able to like really incorporate everyone here into what we are creating for Hey Girl Run. Like all of our photo shoots, all of our product launches, we use girls in our running group here in Denver for those pictures. And it's like I try and use new girls every time, and like we have our weekly Sunday meetups, which I think that's what it's all about, right? Is like creating that community and creating that space where as female runners, like we're not trying to like PR this training run, like whatever, like we're not training for anything. We're just like meeting up, making friends. And it's also been really nice because a lot of the people who come to the runs and come to like our weekly Sunday runs maybe just moved to Denver, or they don't have like as big of a friend base here. So this is like your people, your home. Like, yeah, we're here like under the common goal of like going for a run, but then like, cool, let's like go hang out and do something after, or let's like meet up on a different day and like, oh, does anyone want to go to this concert or this sporting game? Like, so fun. People are making friends all the time, and that I really think is like what it's all about, right? Is creating this like safe space for us. So yeah, that's how we got started, what we're doing, what we're growing, and like I just hope to keep creating products that are like for runners, like for the purpose of what we're making them for. It makes me so happy when I see girls coming to Run Club and they're wearing our product and it works. Like the leggings stay up, it holds their phone, like it is not going to be sheer on them because it's double layered, like all these things that, imagine if we were a company making something and like the product was shit, like they would come and it would be like, oh, that doesn't look very good, or oh, that doesn't even stay up. Like how is that going to work? It's not. So like the actual R&D that goes into what we're making is so important, because like the girls are wearing it, like we're gonna know if it doesn't work. And to hear that like people are ordering our hot pink set to like run their race in, and like that kind of thing, like run their half marathon in, it's so cool. And really just like continuing to see us grow and evolve and like create these products for us girls who are runners. Obviously, like if you're doing another sport, like you could wear our stuff, but like we're here for the runners, and I think that's like always going to be our core. So yeah, as we continue, like you're here for the ride. But girls, I hope that was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions on anything. Obviously there's a lot that goes into kind of the pain points of why someone starts something, and I think that because I was like in the running world before this, not professionally, not competitively, but just as someone who loved running just to run, it put me in this really unique space to be able to create something for others like that, where like we're not, the majority of people aren't the 1% like elite athletes, and we like, yes, we can cater to those people, but I think the most important are the 99% who are really just out there to like be running confidently for their life and to be able to run and all of that. So that's why we're here. That's kind of the backstory behind all of it. And yeah, girls, let me know if you have any questions. Ask them in the comments. I'll answer anything. And thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.